شكرا سعادة الوزيرة. السادة الحضور، في عالم لا تزال فيه ملايين الأسر تفتقر إلى المأوى المناسب، تبرز الحاجة الملحة لإعادة تعريف الإسكان الاجتماعي والميسور التكلفة، ليس كأرقام أو مشاريع مؤقتة، بل كأدوات استراتيجية تمكن المجتمعات وتحدث تحولا حقيقيا في حياة الأفراد. نتوقف الآن مع عرض يلقي الضوء على نماذج عالمية تعيد صياغة مفهوم الإسكان للفئات ذات الدخل المنخفض من خلال استراتيجيات تركز على بناء مجتمعات متكاملة وتعزيز التعليم وتنمية المهارات وتحقيق الاكتفاء الذاتي بمساعدة التكنولوجيا والاقتصاد الرقمي. نرحب بالدكتور دانييل جمبيرو، الرئيس التنفيذي والمؤسس المشارك لشركة آيفوت، رئيس جمعية التكنولوجيا العقارية الماليزية ومتحدث عالمي من اتحاد ماليزيا.
We cannot solve the global housing crisis tomorrow with yesterday's solution. I've heard a lot of my teachers telling me you cannot pretend a different outcome if you keep on doing the thing in the same way. And this is exactly what innovation is. Innovation nowadays, above all in social and affordable housing, is no more an option. It is longly overdue. The problem is dramatic. We have 4.4 billion people living in urban centers around the world. And by 2050, this 4.4 will become 6.8 billion expected to live in urban centers. Now, what is dramatic is that 440 million families do not have a house at global level. Do you know, and this is today's problem, it's not yesterday, 73,000. This is what we need, 73,000 homes delivered every day between today and 2040 if we want to resolve the global housing crisis. And there is no way to run away from numbers, unfortunately. Let's see how, talking about innovation which is not only technology, but much beyond technology, could change the approach to affordable housing, social housing, and public housing as a package. We have been, I will go through first some of the very bad and wrong things that we all have been doing. First of all, inclusiveness. Inclusiveness challenge has always been not effective, has not even been picked up by people. This is a favelas in Brazil. Brazil has a huge number of people that are not having a place where to stay. And this is how, unfortunately, favelas can be compared to normal medium-hand housing with a super high density. Will you live in 47 square feet of space? Because that is the space that each member of the favela Rohingya in Brazil is having, 47 square feet. Inclusiveness or reclusive. Inclusive or reclusive. This is a ghetto, South Africa. And it's very clear the separation, not integrated at all. Let's analyze now what we did wrong. And unfortunately, this morning, I've been listening to most of the discussion, most of the panel, and I've been hearing about technology. I've been hearing about new development. I've been hearing placemaking, which is extremely interesting. But at the end of the day, I hear very few times one big point that I will present after this. We have been always talking and concentrating our attention on the product. And the product is this one, not here in Bahrain. Allow me to say, Bahrain is one of the very few states, countries around the world that have been actually resolving almost the challenge of affordable housing. But this is how affordable housing and social housing are looking in Malaysia, where I have been living for the last 26 years. This brings poor hygiene. This brings criminality, abuse of children, abuse of you women, everything bad. Anyone here would like to feel a sense of belonging? No, thank you, right? That is exactly what, unfortunately, in most cases, social, public, and affordable housing development are places where people don't want to be. Subsidies. Everyone is giving. Governments around the world are subsidizing. I am personally very much against the subsidization of affordable social and public housing. Why? It's like a drug. The more you give, the more people are expecting. And what we do, we are not stimulating them to grow vertically in the social scale. We are actually anesthetizing them and getting them to get the feeling of, oh, I take this for granted. Every year in January, I know that the government is giving. Why should I work? Why should I carry? Why should I worry? Not right. Most countries, and allow me to say with all the due respect, even Bahrain, have been looking at the delivery of housing as a quantity, as a number, as a compulsory debt that the country has towards the low income group. I have also to say that Bahrain and few other countries have been adding in the qualitative aspect, delivering quantity with quality. Singapore is another case. But again, both of them have been somehow missing a very important point. Quantitative policies have been looking at product as a compulsory delivery, not something that I can decide if. No, government need to satisfy people. How to satisfy people? Give them a place where they can live. It's not enough. In Malaysia, the government has been giving, yes, places where to live at 25 to 50 kilometers away from the urban center, from the city sprawl. Now, these families, how can they think about living? We have heard just now the panel talking about placemaking. Do you think that the people are living at 50 or 60 kilometers away from the urban center where they work, they care or give anything for a nice place where to stay? They just want a bed where to rest. Because by the time they reach home, they are exhausted and they are not any longer stimulated to do anything. I don't need a placemaking. This is the big issue, unfortunately. And this is one of the things that, again, I have not been hearing much, unfortunately. Till today, we have been saying, construction company, government, property developer, you have to reduce the cost of housing. An affordable house has to cost not much, not more than this. Have we ever been looking into the pocket of the people that are staying in the affordable housing? Have we ever been thinking, is there a solution to raise what they don't have in their pocket money? These are median per hour payout in Southeast Asia, where people are still bringing home less than $6,000-7,000 per year, ladies and gentlemen. This is the problem. This is where we should be focusing in an innovative manner our attention. We want to solve the problem. We have to get these people to have more money. My name is Daniele Gambero. It's not Robin Hood. I'm not here to say need to take away from the rich and give to the poor. No, because again, takeaways from my previous slide, subsidies didn't work that well in that direction. So it's not a subsidization. It's enabling people. Is understanding these two big points which are related to affordable housing more than social and public, where, point one, we cannot provide them homes that will need more than 35% of their income to pay for. 35% is how much per month I can repay a bank for a loan. However, very important, we need to make sure that the house, which is not a problem in Bahrain, fortunately, or in Singapore, or in small countries, but it's definitely a problem in Malaysia and in many other countries, when people live too far away, how much money they spend to commute, how much time they lose every day to go back and forth. In the map that I showed just a few minutes ago from Malaysia, people are living in Seremban, 60 kilometers from KL, a family of four with two members, husband and wife, working and bringing home an average of about, say, $2,000 per month, have less than 25 cents per day of a US dollar to eat. You cannot even buy bread with that amount of money. That is how we should be approaching the economic side. Now we look at the people. We have been so good in building cities, building big urban centers, that in the making of it, we have been creating a new category of poor, the urban poor. The urban poor is, and again, is not really the case here in Bahrain. In Bahrain, you have foreign workers coming with the dream of finding a well-paid job, but in Malaysia, in countries with big land and rural areas, there is definitely this big dream of the city. Why people are moving from rural areas towards cities? Job, healthcare, education. These are the three drivers. And unfortunately, when they come in the city, they find a job, maybe. How much is costing the healthcare? How much is costing the education? How much is higher the cost of living in a city, in an urban center, compared to the rural areas? In rural areas, I can grow my chicken, my lamb, my lettuce, my tomato. I will never die for starvation. In the city, 80% of the immigrants from rural areas, unfortunately, are dying for starvation. Not dying, but are poor till the extent that they need to queue up and get free food from social services. Now, 440 million affordable homes, not affordable, homes, to be delivered. Is there anyone doing the right thing or not? Question number one. Question number two, is it a problem, a challenge only for fully developed, for emerging market developing countries, or also fully developed countries are having this challenge. This is Europe. 120 million citizens are living in overcrowded homes, high density, low cost. 80 million don't have enough money to heat up the house for 4 to 6 months a year. Europe is a four-season country. 66 million are using more than the 35% that somehow the World Economic Forum has been stating as a limit. 7.1 million homes are needed in US, 70 million in Africa, 104 million in South America. Is a global problem. Developed country, emerging market, developing economies, all of them are having it. Winners, and honestly, respect and salute to Bahrain, because you have been resolving, together with Singapore, Austria, Finland, Norway, and Sweden, not resolving, but addressing in an effective manner social, public, and affordable housing demand. However, do you know what these 6 countries are having in common? One thing. Not the size, because Finland, Norway, and Sweden are actually pretty big. Population. Bahrain, 1.6 million. Austria, 9 million. Singapore, 5.7 million. Finland, Norway, and Sweden, anything between 6 and 9 million people. When you have a small population, is easier to address, is easier to find common playground between ministries and agencies to be able to deliver what the big countries such as Indonesia or US have not been able to solve. And still, with strength, come also challenges and missing elements. And unfortunately, I cannot see the missing element that everyone has been missing, starting from this morning till the talk before mine. I didn't hear one time the word people, social layer. We didn't address that. And that is the innovation, the innovative approach that we all should be considering if we want to transform affordable housing delivery. We should be stop looking at affordable homes as something that must be delivered as a number, as a product. People should be coming first. We should be understanding, I call it a KYC, which is very common in trading environment. But the C doesn't stay for customer, stays for community. We build a community. We nurture them. We profile them. We get to know what are their aspirations, their skills, their education level. We address this demand of the middle range of poor, B10, B20, target for social and public homes, B3, B4, M1, M2, M3, M4, target for still can be social housing, mostly should be affordable homes. And finally, stop looking at a home as a service. Stop looking at a home as a product. Start looking at the home as a service. That is how we could be able to resolve the problem. Land. Land is the biggest challenge, of course. But do government find land for public transportation? Do government find land for highways? Do government find land for harbor? for infrastructure work. Now, what is affordable social and public housing if not an additional infrastructure in our society? So somehow we need to find the land, because the land is the killer of the housing cost. As I said, housing cost, affordable housing cannot, social, public, and affordable, all of them, the cost of construction cannot be compressed any further. Even with the use of AI, unfortunately, there is no way. We can make it more linear, more clean. We can get less delays. But AI and technology will never contribute in reducing much on the costing. Where we need to work is how do we increase the income creation ability of the social layer, the people that are living there. Result of all this should be the delivery of qualitative homes within a qualitative environment. And all this doesn't happen with the typical PPP, first innovation, public-private partnership. Public has the social aspect to deliver. Private has the profit aspect, and must be big for the investor and the shareholders. Mismatch. So we need to pull in who? The people. PPP. And then we need to pull in the hub, the boiler of new ideas, of innovation, academia. And academia should be the boiler of new innovation and the boiler of ways to grow and nurture communities through research and development stimulated by the government. I've been working on a model to resolve global housing most of my life, 40 plus years in real estate, traveling and working all around the world. And how I can see this happening with 4 different phases. The first is building the community, which is not simply registering people, is registering people and get to know them, get to know where, when, how much they have available for the affordable house, social and public, of course. Community education. I don't send them back to school. I reskill them. I give them digital literacy. Who are the low-cost members? 90% are blue collars. They know how to repair a car, wash a car, adjust the body, do maintenance of aircon, do hiring, cooking, babysitting, gardening, landscaping. How much more they know? Why we don't allow them to leverage on this skill? And at the same time, we teach them how to be better micro entrepreneur. No need to set up big business. We just, in this case, yes, subsidize microeconomic booster in each community. We, of course, the biggest challenge is we can bring, I think Chinese are saying this, we can bring the horses to the river. We cannot push the horse to drink. But if when we can identify the leader in the bunch of horses and we convince the leader of the horses to drink, isn't it that the whole rest of the bunch will go and drink? That is how we need to know our community and grow them. Once we have been growing the community, we know what they need, we deliver. And one very important thing, we cannot have too many agencies in charge. In Malaysia, I think we are beating the world record of something like 80 or 90 agencies delivering social, public, and affordable housing. Too many. The right hand doesn't know the left hand what it's doing. Should be one agency per country. And the developer and the construction company shouldn't be the developer and the construction company, should just be a contractor that build what the government asked them to build. We can't leave players who have a profit in their mind to handle this project because things doesn't work. Of course, we need to reward them in a different manner. Last but not least, once the community is created, once the affordable homes, social housing, or public housing are delivered, we need to keep on educate and manage them. How? Using transformation in the technology side of this model. A fully digitally transforming solution which will allow to keep on giving education, keep on being available online for all the members to refresh their ideas, a marketplace where they can sell their skills, their value. And in this case, we will be able to leverage on affordable housing, social housing, and public housing projects to elevate the income of all these families. Just now I heard technology is still at a very early stage. Well, I'm the president of the Malaysian Proptech Association, and allow me to say that beside these 6 members of our association that have been contributing in working on the digital platform, there are at least another 20 or 30 digital solutions around the world who might be extremely useful in making this digital tool something that works very well. And of course, we're not talking about SDG 11. It's only one of the targets. No poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education, responsible consumption and production, reduced inequalities, industry innovation, and of course, sustainable cities and communities. Is all in a package. Is something that will change the way countries will look at their low-income groups. They will no more people to be left aside, but people to be involved in the growth of the country. I talk a lot about this topic. I have a big passion. I've been working on it for the past 40 years of my life. So feel free to get in touch with me via LinkedIn and keep on the discussion. I'm also willing to open a discussion for consultancies or cooperation to make this thing happening. Because I believe innovation is not only technology. Innovation comes in when we change the approach to the problem. And we need to really change the way we have been doing things till today, because if we keep on, we cannot expect a different outcome. And I believe I can still be open for a few questions. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you. If any question, please raise a hand. Ah, we have a hand up, if there is a microphone.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was stunning. It was amazing. Thank you. It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
I just ask you a simple question. All of these ideas have to be translated into an implementation process. And the start, and very often the most difficult start, is in translating vision into contractual relations. How do you actually transmit these ideas into a contract, whether it's a contract for a public-private partnership or a contract to build a new town? What is your advice on actually the starting block for moving forward, because you can't avoid it. You have to have a contract.
Yeah.
Now, I've been in urban planning for almost 50 years. I'm retired. The big issue is the implementation stage and the risk management of implementation. And my experience is that PPP should be renamed public-private platform, because I believe governments have an obligation to provide a platform, not to throw all of the risks onto the private sector. And it's getting this balance and these ideas that you have talked about into some formula that can be articulated in contractual terms. Please, I really welcome your views.
Well, all this has been taking form. This I call this the anybody a home, where a home, anybody is clear the meaning. A home means affordable home ownership made easy. So anybody can have a home, basically. How this came at life, as I said, I've been studying affordable home project around the world, from US to Mexico, Brazil, Spain, South Africa, and Southeast Asia for all my life. All this came up from the state of Sarawak, which is one of the states in Malaysia, who engaged me to find a different way to approach affordable homes delivery, forgetting, unfortunately, that at the end, there is a political decision to be taken. And one of the most unpredictable outcome is politicians always look at one thing, votes. And numbers that I have been delivering for long is what I've been giving them votes. They are not so keen and open towards the social aspect. As a fact, I've been elaborating not only the model, but policies, regulations. You were mentioning just now PPP, public-private partnership. Let's add in the other P people and the A for academia. Because in equation, there cannot only be two players. We need to address the social layer first. And the study that I did for Sarawak was inclusive of proposed policies, modification of laws, definitely. There has to be a framework within which this model happen. And being very open and honest, I've been presenting it around the world in many different arenas, Gulf countries. Last week I was in Dubai, today here. In October, I will be in Riyadh. Last year, same, different countries. I am discussing with government, pushing them toward doing a POC. Because in the moment in which policies, regulation, and laws are stress tested, is when, as you are saying, we can come in with a template, with a framework within which all countries in the world will be able to find their way out. I hope this partially replies, and I'm very willing to continue the discussion after this. Any other question? Okay. So thank you very much. Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel, for this valuable. Is the sound on? So thank you, Dr. Daniel, for this valuable presentation. And now I'd like to call to the stage Mr. Abdullah Talib, the General Manager of Scan Bank, to honor our speaker. إذا السادة الحضور ندعوكم الآن لاستراحة الغداء لمدة ساعة، ونستأنف من بعدها جلسات اليوم الأول من مؤتمر الابتكار في قطاع السكن الاجتماعي. نلقاكم بعد استراحة الغداء.